CSS programming language. What is CSS? A style sheet language called Cascading Style Sheets (CSS) is used to describe how a document produced in a markup language like HTML or XML is presented, including XML dialects such as SVG, MathLore XHTML. The World Wide Web's foundational technologies, along with HTML and JavaScript, include CSS. The purpose of CSS is to make it possible to separate content from presentation, including layout, colors, and fonts. By specifying the pertinent CSS in a separate .css file, which reduces complexity and repetition in the structural content, this separation can improve content accessibility, provide more flexibility and control in the specification of presentation characteristics, enable multiple web pages to share formatting, and enable the .css file to be cached to improve page load speed between the pages that share the file and its formatting. The ability to offer the same HTML page in several styles for various rendering techniques, including on-screen, in print, by voice, using a speech-based browser or screen reader, and on braille-based tactile devices, is also made possible by the separation of formatting and content. If a user accesses the material on a mobile device, CSS additionally provides rules for different formatting. When many style rules match an element, the priority system is used to determine which rule should be applied, hence the name cascading. This priority hierarchy is predictable. The World Wide Web Consortium maintains the CSS specifications, W3C. History and development. On October 10, 1994, Con Lai made the initial proposal for CSS. Lai was collaborating with Tim Berners-Lee at CERN at the time. Around the same time, several different style sheet languages for the web were proposed, and discussions on public mailing groups and within the World Wide Web Consortium led to the 1996 release of the first W3C CSS recommendation, CSS1. In particular, a suggestion made by Bert Bose, who is credited as co-creating CSS and who later co-authored CSS1, was influential. Since the inception of Standard Generalized Markup Language (SGML) in the 1980s, style sheets have existed in some form, and CSS was created to provide style sheets for the web. One prerequisite for a web style sheet language was that style sheets must originate from many websites. HTML expanded as a result, adding more stylistic possibilities to satisfy the needs of web developers. At the expense of more complicated HTML, this development provided the designer more control over the look of the website. Consistent site appearance was challenging due to variations in web browser implementations, such as World Wide Web and Violo, and users had less control over how web information was displayed. The style sheets of Tim Berners' browser editor Lees were hard-coded into the software. As a result, the style sheets could not be linked to web-based pages. A fellow CERN employee named Robert Kiliau wanted the structure and presentation to be separated so that several style sheets could specify various presentations for printing, screen-based presentations, and editors. The HTML Editorial Review Board had been responsible for developing HTML, CSS, and the DOM, ERB. The ERB was divided into 3 working groups at the beginning of 1997. The HTML working group, led by W3CS Dan Connolly, the DOM working group, led by SoftQuad's Lauren Wood, and the CSS working group, led by W3CS Chris Lilly.